There, that's a bit better, sorry. So like I said, I'm going to come down a bit hard on Destiny because it is a really good game, but it was so much less than what it was promised. And I'm not even talking overhype here. I'm talking... it's a lot less than what Bungie said it was going to be. It doesn't feel that huge. They cut a bunch of stuff, apparently. They kind of scrapped the whole story. This is allegedly, but it's kind of sounding like it makes sense. They scrapped the whole story and everything about a year ago. So even though they've been working on it for at least 5 years, because it was teased in Halo 3 ODST, since they've been working on it at least that long, but doesn't feel like it, especially with regards to the story. Which, like I said, makes sense. They had to scrap it a year ago for some reason and start over. Like, just... the story... like, I barely even know the story. It just kind of feels like a bunch of disconnected missions where you have to go and fight the bad guys because of reasons. Your character barely talks at all. The only talking character... well, there are multiple characters that talk, but the main... like, it feels like your ghost is the main character. He's the one doing all the talking. And it kind of gets more storyish in the middle, then falls off again. Like, you can meet this one character and she tells you, I don't have time to tell you why I don't have time to tell you whatever. Like, really? Really? But yeah, with the story being cut, like, one of the things that seems like it makes sense that they did that is at the start of the game, your ghost finds you and brings you back to life. And you've been dead for like a couple hundred years. But, you know, your body's intact. It hasn't rotted at all. Which is okay though. The ghost brings you back to life. And if you look back at this old story scrapped theory, one of the things that the previous story allegedly had was a separate mission for each species. Right now, the 3 different species, there's humans, which are humans. There are Awoken, which are kind of like humans who evolved when they went to the edge of the solar system. And there are Exo, which are robots. Well, apparently there's supposed to be 3 different stories for different species, and the Exo one was the one that started with you being brought back to life. And that makes sense, because if you're a robot, you can be brought back to life, because you don't have, like, flesh and stuff that rots, and you just kind of be rebooted. So that makes a lot more sense. But just, yeah, the story just feels so disconnected from itself, and weird things like, I'm playing as the Awoken, I go to the home of the Awoken, and when I'm going there, my ghost tells me like how mysterious blah 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 the Awoken are. Well, obviously not. If I can play as Awoken and there are a bunch more people playing as Awoken and the Awoken are on Earth, and they can't be that mysterious. But it still feels like a great... like, I'm coming down kinda hard on it, and a lot of people are. Just from the story aspect. But a lot of it is still great. It's a pretty hard grind once you get up past level 20 because level 20 is technically the cap, the level cap. Kind of a soft level cap, and hard level cap is 30. But to get from 20 to 30, you have to equip armor with light on it, and the more light you have, the higher your level is past 20. So it can be a bit of a grind just to find the right armor rather than actually gaining experience, which you do from every enemy. They, I think they patched it so enemies drop more loot than bear loot. And Bungie is staying on top of things. They also patched the Cryptarch, who can decrypt weapon engrams, which are, I don't know, weapons that aren't built. Originally he would decrypt like a legendary engram and might give you a lower class of weapon, but they patched it so if you get a legendary engram, it's going to give you a legendary weapon, like the different tiers of weapons like they have in Borderlands and lots of RPGs. So they fixed that. They're patching some of the problems. Those kind of problems, it kind of stinks when they do happen at launch, but as long as the company, as long as a creator stays on top of them, a developer there. As long as the developer stays on top of those problems, I don't mind them as much. The story is just what's really bugging me. The fact that apparently a lot of this stuff they cut, they're adding to DLC. Well, who's in there? I want DLC for extra stuff, not stuff that was supposed to be in there but was taken out. But yeah, other than that, the combat feels really good. The different types of weapons, it's kind of like Borderlands. Like I said, there's a lot fewer drops than there aren't that many drops, but it's still nice to get a cool gun and I want to start using this one. So yeah, it kind of has a Borderlands feel about getting all the cool guns and stuff despite not having as many drops. It's definitely a really good game. I enjoy it. It's just so much less than we were promised, and I've said this before, that when I review games, I don't know if I see the flaws, but that's why I find it's easiest to talk about, so take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. It is a really good game. They're just these problems that kind of bugging me since Bungie said there'd be so much more. I'll talk about the two-player multiplayer next. And the PvP, I don't like it. I'm sorry. It seems very divisive in the community. A lot of people like it, and a lot of people don't like it. My biggest problem is that it's pretty unbalanced. Like, you go in there with your character and you bring all your weapons you get from the campaign or the single player, which most of the time they are balanced, except in an event called the Iron Banner, where however much damage your weapon does regular, that's how much damage will do, instead of being like all assault rifles or all auto rifles, as they're called, do the same amount of damage. But that's only the damage. Like I said, the way the weapon systems works is that weapons have all these different perks and stuff on them. So despite being balanced on a damage scale, someone might still have a lot better gun than you just because it has good perks. And I also, like, guns give perks to your character as well. Like, you don't actually have a number of grenades, you have a infinite number of grenades, but after you throw it, it has to recharge before you can throw it again. And same with melee, like I'm playing as a hunter, and my melee is a throwing knife, so I can throw the knife, and then it has to recharge again before I can use it. But there's armor and guns and stuff that can make it recharge your armor and your grenade, or your melee and your grenade charge faster. And people have fast charging shields. So even though the weapons are technically balanced, it sometimes doesn't feel that way because they have all these different things that unbalance them. And a lot of people love it. I personally dislike it. I am mainly a Halo player for FPS, and despite some of the changes in the recent games, it is an arena shooter, and it's going back to an arena shooter. And what an arena shooter is, just like think Halo 3 and even the newer games to an extent. Reach kind of changed it with the armor abilities, and then Halo 4 with the custom loadouts. But just think Halo 1, 2, 3, where you start multiplayer, everyone's the same, you all have the same guns, the same number of grenades, shields recharge at the same rate, you don't have any extra perks. And to get the bare guns, you don't just start out with them by playing the game longer and being able to make better loadouts. You actually have to go find them on the map. That's what an arena shooter is. I think one of the reasons the balance in Destiny really bugs me is because I just like that arena shooter feel so much, and you go into Destiny and they all have their own, like, whatever guns, whatever perks that you got in the campaign. It just feels super unbalanced to me. But a lot of people love it. I was listening to the RUL podcast, the most recent one. I'll put the link in the description below to that. I think it was Starter Riot that said this, but don't quote me. Please don't quote me. Yeah, I don't really know. I don't know who it was. But whoever it was said that you still keep your guns from, or no, not even, that you start out with loadout. You can have loads for different types of guns, but they're still balanced against each other. So there'd be like an assault rifle load, or an auto rifle loadout, and a pulse rifle loadout and such. But the same for everyone. You choose them at the start of the game, and there's no bonuses to your melee recharge or your grenade recharge. I think that I would really like that. But like I said, I guess Destiny's, I don't know, it's not that kind of game. We'll see. They're not going to implement something like that, but I don't know if there's Destiny 2, who knows. But yeah, good game. There are some quite major flaws, due in part to the fact that it's not what it was supposed to be. I mean, it will become what it's supposed to be once all the DLC comes out, but I don't want to have to use DLC to make the game full. Like I said, as hard as I've come down on it, still a really good game. I think if you like Halo and if you like Borderlands, this is a lot like those kinds of games, and you should definitely give it a look if you haven't given it already. And if you have given it, if you haven't played Destiny, tell me down below what you think of it, and what you think of my thoughts on it, if you agree or disagree. Go ahead, disagree all you want. I always like hearing what other people have to say. If you like this video, remember to give it a like, and remember to give me a subscribe, and maybe we'll see some more Destiny in the future. Yeah. I probably will talk about all the DLC, and who knows. Future videos. I always say what future videos I'm gonna make. I never do them. Still have to finish Halo, the book. I'm just trying to get back into that. I might do a video for the new Super Smash Brothers. And speaking of Halo, Master Chief Collection is less than a month away, and from what I've seen of it, it looks awesome. I'm pretty sure this is stuff that 343 is definitely going to deliver, because they wouldn't say this like less than a month before launch. I'm guessing it's gone gold already, which means it's ready to be sent out. They're not going to make any changes to it. I'm assuming it's gone gold already, but I've never heard about it, so that it has, so maybe not. And then just yesterday, which I mean 2 days ago, I bought volume number 8 of Chew, so we'll talk about 4 through 8, 5 through 8 rather, soon. And I still have to read volume 21 of The Walking Dead, so we'll talk about that soon, hopefully, as well. So this is Foundation Afro. Bye bye, see you next time, and 17 minutes, that's a pretty long video, but Destiny's a big game, it's a lot to talk about, and I just kind of did a big ad read at the end there for my own ads that I might not do. Bye.